Welcome. You know, in Michigan, squirrel season runs from mid-September to mid-March. Well, that is for the gray squirrel and the fox squirrel. Now, I came from a hunting and fishing family. My brothers, though, never ever hunted squirrel. They did rabbits and all kinds of birds and deer, things like that, but never squirrel. But I was at a wildlife dinner some years ago with my husband. It was at our local gun club, and he fell in love with squirrel. Neither of us had ever had squirrel before, and he thought it was just fantastic. You know, squirrel is a little bit of a sweeter meat, and it's not real gamey like some wild game. But my mother never, of course, prepared squirrel, so I had to come up with my own recipes. And the one I'm going to show you is my favorite recipe. Okay, resilient citizens, this is Prepper Potpourri bringing you a squirrel recipe. Just make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, and the little bell icon so you receive notices of future videos, and thumbs up if you like the video. Okay, back to the show. Now, you might be saying, squirrel? Who eats squirrel? I mean, some people call it tree rat, right? Well, you know, these are the same people that will go to a luxury restaurant and eat lobster, which is a bottom feeder and known as the cockroach of the sea. So don't knock something unless you taste it. I know when my youngest son and I was in Peru, we did eat guinea pig. It was just okay. It had a lot of little bones in it, so the way it was prepared I wasn't a fan of, but it was kind of hard on us because we had a pet guinea pig at home, punchki. But that's just something in that country people eat. And you know, the great thing about guinea pigs is they make a lot of other guinea pigs. So it's a great source for city homesteading for meat. Now, many recipes, if you're looking for squirrel, call it to be quartered or whole prepared. And when I say whole, I mean after it's been skinned and everything, right? But you know what? I don't like it that way. There's a lot of little bones, especially little rib bones in the squirrel, and I don't like to munch down on a bone when I'm eating something. So I prepared a little different than a lot of people. And I want to show you what I think is the absolutely best way to prepare squirrel. We're going to make fried squirrel with luscious, rich gravy and a side of Swiss chard and bacon. Come along with me. So I'll go over the ingredients. My husband today only got one squirrel, so I am making a meal of one, although it could serve two people. But I'm preparing it for him because it is his favorite meal. But these are the ingredients you'll need. Well, of course, you're going to need squirrel meat, oil or bacon fat, chicken broth, and flour, and salt and pepper, with optional paprika for the squirrel. And for the gravy, you're going to use pan drippings and that squirrel broth you made, slurry of cornstarch and water, and some salt and pepper. And the Swiss chard, you're going to tear the leaves off from the stalk, dice up the stalks. You can use bacon and have bacon fat, diced onions, minced garlic, and salt and pepper. So here's the squirrel quartered, and then we're just going to put it in a pan. And then we just want to cover it with chicken broth. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, we've got our squirrel quarters and our chicken broth, and we have it on the burner. And we're going to cook it really low sim until it's tender, and it'll be easy to debone. Take the top off. Looking good. I want the meat to cool now so I can debone it. It is a little time consuming to take all the pieces of the meat out, but believe me, it makes a superior dish. Okay, here it is. We're going to take this and we're going to start pulling off the meat. See? Just easy, and I have found that my fingers are the best way to do it. But if you cook a little, it's so much easier, and you can get all the little pieces of meat out. So we'll be back when we got this done. So here we have the bones. There really isn't much left on them. Okay, and we have quite a bit of meat. Let's see how much we have. Here's a cup. Oh yeah, it's going pretty good here. Yep, I would say we have just about, maybe not quite a cup of squirrel meat. That's actually pretty good for a squirrel. Now on to the next step. Here's our squirrel and chicken broth. I added a little onion and a little carrots. I'm just going to let it cook down a little because this is what we're going to use to make our gravy. So I went in the garden this afternoon and picked some Swiss chard. I'm going to make that into greens, and I picked a lot of kale, and I'm going to have some kale chips for a snack tonight. Oh, I really love the cheesy kale chips. If you haven't tried them, I have a video on it. Now you want to fry up your bacon. You might wonder why I added, that's right, bacon grease to the pan. But this was previously about 3/4 cooked bacon, and then I freeze it so I can make it quick for when the grandkids come. So I'm just trying to heat this up and get a little crisp. So we'll be back. Draining the bacon, and now I'm going to put in, whoa, look at that, huh? This is onion, and you notice that there's some more translucent onions. Those are the ones that were in the broth. I cut those up too. And some garlic, and some of the stems of the Swiss chard. Just going to let those cook. Okay, the Swiss chard has been cooking a bit. We're going to start making our squirrel. So we just have some salt and pepper and flour. And usually I put a little paprika in too, but I need to buy some more. And then just going to want to toss this, all of our squirrel. I want to get it covered in this flour mixture. Getting pretty good. We're going to start our squirrel. Need some more bacon grease down here. But you know, squirrel doesn't have much fat. Kind of like rabbit, same way. Of course, you can use whatever oil you have. Just why not recycled bacon grease, right? All of our little squirrel pieces. And don't worry about the extra flour, it'll just help with the gravy. There we go. I still got some more little pieces here. You want to get it all. After all, it took quite a while to get those pieces off the squirrel. Now we're just frying it up. As the squirrel fries up, we're going to finish off our Swiss chard. Gotten our onions pretty translucent here. time put in their greens, which will look like an awful lot until we cook them down. They will pretty fast. Be back. We're just going to put our bacon bits on. Mix this through. It's going to be ready for dinner. Okay, we're going to get this out of the pan. It's gotten crispier, a little browner. And now it's time to make the gravy. Now we're going to add the broth we had. And then just a slurry from some cornstarch and a little water. It's making a nice gravy, isn't it? And we want to put a little pepper in here. A little salt. There. Okay. Looking good. Here it is, all nice and dished up. We got our squirrel with gravy on. And we got mashed potatoes with gravy. Some beans from the garden. And our greens. Oh yeah, one more thing. We have kale chips too for snacking. Now let's see how he likes it. Tell me if the squirrel's tender.
It is tender. It has a little crispiness on the outside of it.
I fried it. How's the gravy?
It's rich.
Try your greens.
It's very good. Wow.
It's my own recipe. Swiss chard from the garden. Thumbs up.
Squirrel's fantastic.
Yes, I took a full picture of him. He hates to be on the video, but people always say, why don't you show his face? And also he's very stilted. He doesn't feel natural on the video. But it really is his favorite. He was so excited he wanted to tell his two friends about it. And he said, boy, this is the way you have to make squirrel from now on. So if you're a squirrel hunter or lucky enough to have someone give you a squirrel, I really, really encourage you to try this recipe. I think you will absolutely fall in love with it. And if somebody in your family isn't a squirrel lover, just don't tell them it's squirrel. They'll probably think it's chicken. As always, please subscribe, share the knowledge, and thumbs up if you like the video. It really does help me.